Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we are going to be looking into something that I think a lot of people fantasize about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that is travel modeling.
Oh,
We've got a really fascinating source here that we're going to be pulling from, and it really kind of digs beneath the surface of what it takes to be successful in this industry.
Yeah, I think when we think about travel modeling, we sort of think about, those picture-perfect Instagram shots.
Right. Like, oh, I just woke up like this with my,
Effortlessly beautiful in some exotic location.
yeah, effortlessly beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. But yeah, this source really digs into the skills and the savvy that it takes to actually make it.
What's so interesting about the source is the fact that it really does sort of peel back the layers of this idea of effortless beauty.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what we see when we're just scrolling through Instagram or looking at magazines or even travel brochures.
Right.
But the reality is it takes a lot of work. And there are some really surprising skills involved in being successful.
Yeah. So the source mentions, needing to embody different styles and etiquette.
Oh, yeah.
They use these examples like chic in France and vibrant in the Caribbean.
Right.
It's almost like you need to be a chameleon.
You really do.
How do you even begin to kind of navigate all of that?
It's interesting because it makes me think about how much research and prep work goes into embodying different cultural nuances and, being sensitive to different cultural expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, you're doing a shoot for a luxury resort in Bali.
Okay.
You need to really understand Balinese customs.
Right.
You need to make sure that you're being sensitive to their local culture.
Yeah.
It might even help to know a few key phrases in Bahasa Indonesian
Wow.
so that you can connect with the audience.
That's fascinating.
So, it's more than just, showing up and looking beautiful.
Right.
You're really kind of almost like a cultural ambassador in a way.
Yeah, you're representing that location, but in a way that feels authentic.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a really interesting skill set that, maybe we don't always think about when we think about modeling in general.
Totally.
So speaking of that, this source also really emphasizes venue promotion skills.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting. So is that kind of like knowing how to, work the room at a Michelin star restaurant or something like that?
I mean, it definitely helps if you've got good taste, I guess.
Right.
But I think, when we're talking about venue promotion skills,
Yeah.
it's really more about understanding what makes each location special and then figuring out how to really bring that out in the images or videos that you're creating.
Okay.
So for example, let's say you're at an eco lodge in Costa Rica.
Okay.
It's not just about showing the beautiful scenery.
Right.
You're showcasing the sustainability practices,
Yeah.
the connection with nature, the sense of tranquility that you get there.
And you're selling a feel.
You're selling an experience, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, that is definitely something that I need to get better at with my own travel photos.
Oh, I'm sure they're great.
I try.
Yeah.
But, I was really surprised by how much this source focuses on like the business side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Like contracts, networking, self-promotion.
Totally.
Like it almost seems like you need an MBA to be a travel model these days.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think, people don't realize that successful travel models
Sure.
are essentially running their own businesses.
Wow.
They're building a brand on social media,
Right.
negotiating contracts,
Yeah.
managing travel logistics, and then constantly looking for new opportunities.
Right.
So it's really demanding.
And competitive, I imagine.
Very much so,
Yeah. So I can see why the source stresses professionalism and paperwork management.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff is really important, sometimes overlooked, I think.
I think so too.
But yeah, beyond just like the business savvy,
Yeah.
the source also mentions the need for kind of like a customer-focused mindset, which I thought was really interesting. So it's not just about you,
Right.
it's also about the client.
Absolutely.
So how do those two things kind of work together?
I mean, it's all about understanding the client's needs and goals for the project.
Okay.
So if, for example, a high-end fashion brand wants a travel model
Right.
who embodies elegance and sophistication,
Okay.
they're going to be looking for someone who can really project that image,
Yeah.
right? Whereas a family-friendly cruise line
Yeah.
might need someone who is more approachable and energetic.
So you need to be able to tailor your personality to the client.
In a way, yes, but also,
Yeah.
ideally you would find clients that are already in alignment with your personal brand,
Okay.
so it feels authentic.
Right.
It doesn't feel forced.
So it's kind of like finding the right fit.
Yeah, Exactly.
And that's important in any job, but especially one where you're kind of the face of the company.
Right. And I think that
Yeah.
goes back to that idea of personal branding and really understanding who you are as a travel model.
And what you want to represent.
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of authenticity, I noticed that this source really stresses communication skills. So is being multilingual kind of a necessity in this field?
It's a huge asset for
Wow.
sure.
Okay.
The ability to connect with people from all over the world in their own languages is incredible.
Right.
It breaks down barriers,
Yeah.
it builds trust,
Right.
and it just adds so much depth to the travel experience.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's something that you can't really replicate
Yeah.
with just, speaking one language. And I think it also shows a level of respect
Yeah.
for the different cultures that you're visiting.
Yeah. A willingness to engage with them on their own terms.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
This is so interesting.
it is.
It sounds like to be successful at this,
Mhm.
you need cultural awareness, business skills, language abilities.
Right.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And then we haven't even talked about the confidence that it takes to do this kind of work.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, them-
Imagine yourself
Yeah.
at a VIP event in Dubai,
Right.
or you're doing a photo shoot on a yacht in the Mediterranean,
Oh my gosh.
or you're leading a hike through the Andes.
Yeah.
You have to be so comfortable in your own skin and be able to really adapt to all of these different situations.
Right. Like think on your feet.
Totally.
Yeah.
With grace and poise.
I mean, it's amazing
It is.
that people can do this.
Right.
Yeah. So I think what we've learned today is that travel modeling is so much more
It is.
than just taking pretty pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real blend of style and cultural savvy and business skill
And don't forget the human connection.
and human connection. Yeah.
Really understanding people and being able to connect with them authentically.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think this deep dive has been really eye-opening for me. I hope it's been interesting for you as well.
I hope so.
And I think this whole idea of personal branding is something that we can all learn from,
Totally.
whether we're travel models or not.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out who you are and what you want to represent in the world.
Yeah. And then putting yourself out there
I like that.
in a way that feels authentic and genuine.
So on that note, I have a question for all of you.
Okay.
If you were a travel model,
Okay.
what location and what brand
Ooh,
would best showcase your skills and your personality?
that's such a good question.
It's something to think about, isn't it?
Definitely.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of travel modeling.
It's been fun.
Until next time,
Bye.
bye.
Gars, où ça? Je suis dans le secteur. Hier tu m'attendais là. T'as fini sans tes peurs. Pas
Just like Hollywood.